We're spilling the Trinity. We're chatting with Mr. G. We love TST. Imagine that. We're chatting with Mr. Gronemat.
I am here with Franze, one of our esteemed members of the class of 2024, who is currently in his second quarter at Louisiana Tech in Ruston. And so this is a great opportunity, Ian, for us to just reflect on what is not a traditional semester, because you guys are on the quarter system that I mentioned. But now that you are, that you've got a good chunk of your freshman year of college under your belt, just a good opportunity for us to to visit about that first college experience and how Trinity prepared the way for all the success that you're enjoying right now. So, a good place to start is just to, can you tell us a little bit about your college selection process and the pathway that ultimately led you to Ruston and Louisiana Tech?
Yeah, so my, in terms of my choosing, but I was a little different because I wanted to start out, back when I started selecting colleges, applying, I wanted to go into more aviation and things like that, so I was looking at those focused colleges, and then so that's what I applied to. Like, I applied to Oklahoma State, Louisiana Tech, and Runget did help me out a lot with that.
Sure.
Mr. Kadali, getting to finding and being able to select which one of these had the best program versus which one I would be able to reasonably get into. So yeah, and then by the end, but pretty much for the whole second semester of senior year, I was thinking I wanted to go to Oklahoma State and get through with that, but and even through the whole summer pretty much, and then maybe 3 days before I'd wanted to move, or before it was time to move me up to Stillwater, I decided that maybe it wasn't for me, and that I think I really had to get into that moment right before it was there, before I really made up my mind.
Sure, yeah.
And I decided that Ruston and Louisiana Tech would be a better fit, and that, especially since I didn't want to do aviation anymore by this point, I had decided there's no point in going 5 hours away when I could go 2 and just be in Ruston, and it's a lot simpler drive and things like that. So yeah, I think I was reasonably prepared for what that would be like, but it's just, I think it's just different for everybody, because a lot of my classmates in the class of 24 had a lot easier time. They knew where they wanted to go probably second the senior year started. And so, but I realized that it's not a huge deal if you don't really know where you want to go, especially if you're deciding between 2 places that you've been accepted to. They'll both take you up to a certain date near when the semester starts. So it wasn't a Louisiana Tech. We called them and they said, yeah, we can get you set up and get you into the room within a week. And so by the end of the week, we got everything set up, and they applied all my scholarships back, and it was very simple. Wasn't as a big a deal as I had expected.
Sure.
It to be.
Again, one of the benefits, as you've earned, of being such an outstanding student, that of course, a place like Louisiana Tech is going to make a home, make a place for a student of your caliber and a person of your caliber. Do you remember? And again, this is I know you are such a humble guy, but do you remember the number of college admissions that you ultimately received, or do you remember anything specific about scholarship totals? I don't want you to relay any personal information you don't feel comfortable, but you don't feel comfortable with divulging. But do you remember kind of that process and how many colleges you were looking at and scholarships and all that kind of stuff?
Trying to think. I don't remember the exact number. It was between 6 and 7 universities I applied to. And I got accepted to all of them, luckily. So I wasn't limited in my options, to say the least.
Sure.
But I think scholarship-wise, I did pretty good. I once again don't remember the exact number, but I know that, well, I do know at Louisiana Tech I got my out-of-state waived, which I think it has more to do with us being in Texas and us being so regionally close.
And some pretty good test scores and GPA in there too.
And then I also got some extra, I also got their in-state scholarships that they offer as well on top of that. So I think I got their around mid-level scholarship because they are a higher standard of school with their, since it's a technical school with
Sure.
engineering and aviation, business, all that. So I think I did better than I thought I would get in terms of acceptance. I didn't expect, some places I didn't even expect to be accepted, and yet I was. So I think I surprised myself in the amount of scholarships I got and the amount of colleges I got accepted to.
So is there a singular factor or a combination of factors that you would attribute that success that maybe you didn't in terms of the college admissions and scholarship, competition, for lack of a better word, that, you had so much success, but maybe you weren't expecting to have as much success as you did enjoy? Is there one factor? Is it a combination of many factors that it empowered you to have such a successful journey through the college admissions process?
I'm not too sure actually, but I think maybe that it was definitely a combination of things. Like I would say us, how we prepared for the SAT very so much, and how I feel like the teachers here at TST never wanted us to feel like we were getting left behind, and would always go back, and like me, it takes me a while with some things. So I think that it was really good for them to foster that nature where I didn't feel like I was being left behind, but also in the fact that we were so prepared for those big tests, ACT. And I mean, I think for some people they can just, it's not always, I guess, the fact of being prepared enough you can do all the preparation in the world for the SAT and then just not be a good test taker. Like I've seen that happen to many people throughout just talking to people that I know and knowing people who go to other schools. But I'd say that just the preparation we received from every sector here allowed me to be more successful.
That's great. Were you someone that took advantage of before and after school tutorials routinely?
No, I was not. I would not. I was not really I like to get up at the last possible second that I could in the morning, so
I remember you being a little bit of a procrastinator at times.
It did tend to happen. But and then after school I just ready to go home.
No, sure. So can you talk a little bit then, because you mentioned the effort of your teachers to kind of quote, not leave you behind, or to paraphrase you. So can you talk about what that looks like when you're in an AP class, maybe a calculus or a statistics or an AP English 4, where the curriculum is rigorous and you're struggling a little bit? Can you talk a little bit about what some of the things that your teachers would do to kind of help get you over the hump and on the right track?
So specifically, in Miss Ponder's class, the calculus and pre-calculus, math has never been my greatest subject. So I think the way that she was very, she was harder than most teachers that I've had throughout my career in high school and middle school, but she was also very fair when it came to grading and when it came to her instruction. Like, she would always make sure that everybody, before she would move on to the next segment, say she was talking about integrals, she would never move on without knowing that everybody was on the same page. So if somebody asked a question and to somebody and to the rest of us, it may have seemed like maybe a question that was obvious, but that they were struggling with, she would stop and go back, re-explain herself. And I noticed that from a lot of teachers too, like Miss Robertson or Mr. Allen and Miss Baxter. Pretty much all the teachers would do it. They were very helpful, especially if you were ever stuck on something. They would make sure they would come back to you and specifically say, all right, we'll get you unstuck and pull you out of it.
You know, one of the virtues of having outstanding teachers and great kids and you know, really small class sizes when you're in these honors and dual credit and AP courses to you know, when it's just you and a handful of classmates and some outstanding teachers, then you can really get that individualized instruction that you know, can get you over that proverbial hump and you know, on the pathway to success. So that kind of brings us to a next point. So I know that the college admissions process is one thing, and of course you wrote, you know, every essay under the sun, and you know, dozens of scholarship applications and all of the things. But there is, you know, anybody who's been through the process that you're currently undertaking knows that being accepted into college, especially a highly selective university like Louisiana Tech, and succeeding once you get there are often two very different things. So can you talk about, you know, you explained it in great detail about how Trinity helped you in the admissions process, but can you talk about your level of preparedness for your first year of college?
So I think in terms of academically, I was prepared pretty much to the best that I could ever been. Like, I never felt whenever I walked into a class that I was not prepared and that I would fall behind and not be able to catch up. I always felt that I could do it, and that I never felt like this is a lost cause. I should just pack all my stuff and go home. So, but one thing that I don't think anybody can be prepared for really is the college life itself, especially when it comes to first getting there, not knowing anybody, and going into your dorm, and just being like, okay, I'm on my own now. That's the one thing that I would say I wasn't prepared for, but that has nothing to do with the school, really. That's just has to do more with me being a homebody. So,
well, I mean, you know, I think every college freshman goes through that culture shock of, you know, whether you go to school with a few dozen high school classmates like you do here at Trinity, or you know, a couple of hundred like so many of our neighbors across East Texas go or attend school with. That you know, once you step foot on a major university, you know, on campus at a major university, and you're alongside thousands of, you know, new classmates from all over the world there for the first time, I think everybody feels a certain level of anxiety. And so what are some hacks or tools or tricks that you've adopted to kind of get through that social acclimation process that's so important?
Well, for me, just, I know everybody's different and some people are more social than others, but me, I wasn't I got comfortable here at Trinity, and I wasn't really prepared for the end of it because I was here for so many years. I was here from 6th grade to all the way through senior year. And when it comes to most people that I know, like some people in my family that go to the bigger schools around town and around East Texas, they experienced the transition from middle school to high school, from going to one campus to another. But for me, we're on the same campus, so that was one thing that I definitely say. So that was hard, but I think in terms of getting over that, it's good to like every school, college, or university is going to have some sort of welcome week type activities where there's just events and like small parties and things. Like for me specifically, a lot of schools, or especially if you're thinking about like joining a club or things, a lot of clubs will have events to welcome potential new members and things like that. So I'd say I didn't really follow through with this, but I've heard it and I know it works for some people. But go to everything you can, and like that sort of welcome week was something that I should have done, but I didn't really do. But with that, I decided to since I didn't attend those things, I decided to rush a fraternity for fall rush, and that was the best decision I've ever made. So I'd say that I'd recommend anybody to do it, and if you find it's not your thing, that's fine. But I'd say it helped me find a place where I didn't think where I was rushing helped me find a place where I didn't think I would ever be comfortable. So I never thought I would rush a fraternity, and then I just decided to jump off the ledge and to do it. I was figuring I probably won't get a bid. Ended up getting a bid to Phi Delta at Law Tech, and now it's I feel like one of the best things happened.
That's awesome. So can you, are there any Rush Week or Rush experience stories that you can share with our Trinity students and family that'll see this video?
For Rush at Louisiana Tech, it's different. We do it's a week-long rush, but instead of it being unorganized and you just have to kind of go visit houses and separately, the IFC, Interfraternal Council of Louisiana Tech, takes all of the potential new members that are rushing, and we all get divided up into groups, and we go visit every house and see every fraternity on campus. I mean, we only have 7, so not that many compared to other schools that have 15 or 20. But it made it really easy to introduce yourself to them and to each fraternity and figure out what part about them you like or what you don't like, and if you would like the guys in there or not. And I'd say that was a good process that really helped me to choose, to narrow down my list of which ones I would prefer to be in, of course, because of course they choose you. You don't really get to choose them. But that's what I would say is like the good thing, the best thing about it, because I've heard stories from my friends at other schools where they have to just go out and do everything yourself, which is fine. I think it's good that you learn to go and do things yourself and in a more unorganized way sometimes. But for me personally, it made things a lot easier just being like told to go to this place and this place or that place. So that was and anything else. Our rush wasn't really exciting. We just it would narrow down by day. We would narrow down our lists each day, and then at the end we all walked into this room and went to find our bids. We basically just walked into this room not knowing what to expect. All the fraternities have a table set out with their bids just laid out, and so you go around to each one and you just look at it, and you just look to see if you have one. If you don't have one, it was kind of awkward for those that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that was an interesting difference that I've not heard of as well. But luckily, there was a bid sitting on the table of the fraternity I wanted into, so I was lucky in that respect.
That's great. So they were your top pick.
Mm-hmm.
You were among their top picks. So it was a happy marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Hey, in closing, I want to circle back to something you said early in our visit. You mentioned about having a certain level of uncertainty in terms of college major, and you actually ended up switching which pathway that you wanted to traverse, and ultimately that meant switching which university you were going to attend. So just this should come as no surprise, but the class of 2025 is doing phenomenally. Everybody's been accepted to at least one college. We've recently presented some college cakes. They're killing it with scholarships. Much in the same vein than the way you guys did. They're doing great, but I know there's a lot of students in that class and the juniors behind them that are feeling uncertain. That, to your point, I think there's a lot that know exactly where they want to go, what they want to study, what their career path is, and that's wonderful. But for everyone that has that path chartered for themselves, there's probably 2 or 3 that maybe just don't know, don't have any idea. So what words of encouragement would you give, particularly to the class of 25, as they're going through, the applications are in, they're waiting on, so they've received those admissions letters from a handful of universities. Some of the bigger ones, as you know, are right around the corner here. So what advice would you give anybody who is undecided on what university they should attend, or their prospective college major, or just uncertain about the process in general?
I would say just probably best thing in my experience is to talk to your parents. Don't be afraid, and to talk to your parents and your teachers and Mr. Grotemad or Ms. Verhalen, because that was my big issue. I was afraid to tell anybody that I wasn't feeling certain about Oklahoma State anymore, and so we got down to that last minute, and then I was just finally like, okay, I don't want to go here. And my parents were like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, what did I have to be nervous about? Because I figured they would be upset or something. I don't know why. But that's definitely one thing I would say is that don't be nervous to tell anybody that you're having doubts about a single school, or if you haven't figured it out yet. Even if you manage to figure out your school but haven't figured out your major, that's fine too, because every school has an undecided option, and your advisors will get you into several different classes to the potential career paths you'd want to go down. So that's what I did at Louisiana Tech. I eventually landed on finance pretty quickly because of the background we got here at TSD in that area. But so it wasn't, the colleges want you to they don't want you to waste your money. So they want you to get to they like you giving them money, but
I was gonna say, yeah.
But they don't want you to use it for the wrong reasons. So they want you to be successful. They want you to do a major that you enjoy and do everything you possibly can to graduate and make their reputation better. So,
on a real quick aside, do you remember, or you can estimate how many dual credit / AP hours you brought with you to Louisiana Tech?
Well, I was on the lower side actually compared to some of my friends and classmates, but I had, I think it was 15 dual credit hours that I brought with me, and with those now, after finishing my first quarter, already being in my second, now I'm considered a sophomore at Louisiana Tech now, but I know a lot of people that had in the 20s or maybe even sometimes up to 30 hours of dual credit hours, and just from doing them during the summer and things. And that's great to get a lot of hours like that, especially when it comes to cost and things like that. Colleges like to see it. But also I would say there's a good balance between getting a good amount of hours knocked out, because no one wants to take a math in college. Like, if you can get out of the way now, take calculus with Miss Bond dual credit, get that out of the way.
Well, you're just not going to have a better teacher, period.
No.
So it's the best of both worlds.
And enjoy college really, because it's already like first half of the year is finished already for me, and I'm like, okay, I thought I got here like 3 weeks ago. But so the dual credit hours are great until you realize, oh, I'll only have to take 2 years of school or something, depending on your major and how long you have to be there. But
Sure, no, but again, a great safety net for Trinity students to know that, hey, I'm going to get a chance to graduate with somewhere between 15 to 30 or more college hours, so that you can either ensure that you're out in 4 years, you can, if you're undecided, you can take some time, maybe lighten that load a little bit, early on to get till you get into that college rhythm, or if you want to, be ambitious and go get that double major or a minor and not have to tack on years.
Absolutely.
So again, another one of those really unique advantages of being a graduate of Trinity School of Texas. Ian, again, on behalf of our faculty and staff, we miss you and your classmates like crazy, but know that you guys are just doing great things at your respective colleges and universities, and we're so grateful that you had the opportunity to join us today back on campus and to share a little bit about your early college experience. So Ian, we thank you, we miss you. Go Titans.